You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. On Saturday, I spent my morning out on the Ponderosa, LSU's practice field, the McClendon practice facility. Tigers worked out for 45 minutes indoors, then went outdoors for about an hour and a half. Hottest day of practice, but I'll never complain about it. I'm very grateful for the access. After which, Brian Kelly met with reporters. And always candid, and we appreciate that very much. I got the second to last question of the press conference. And I asked Brian Kelly a very open-ended question. I want to take his answer in pieces because he ended up giving like a 2.5-minute answer to this question, which is awesome. But I left the question intentionally open-ended because a lot of times when you ask a question, I mean, one of the big no-nos in a press conference is you never ask a yes or no. And you want to avoid a leading question whereby the way you ask the question is leading your interviewee to an answer. Like, how important is it? Fill in. Well, now you're telling him it's important, but what's the scale? Or how impressed were you with? Well, what if he wasn't impressed? You know what I mean? Like, it's important to ask more open-ended questions. So I try to do that here. And I asked Brian Kelly, the way I phrased it was, if you go back to day one of camp, was there a position or a player where you maybe had some trepidation about where you were coming into camp that you feel much better about today, 3 weeks in? And he ended up giving a really long answer talking about both the defensive side and the offensive side of the ball. But I say this often, it is always interesting to me that when you ask an open-ended question, where that person's brain immediately goes. Because that is your answer. Because it could have been any number of things. But the first thing they say is, they're telling you, I didn't lead him anywhere. It's where did his brain go? Well, this is where Brian Kelly's brain immediately went when I said, where have you essentially most improved from day one to now?
You know, I like the way our corners have held up on the outside. You know, I think, you know, anytime you go into a year, you want to make sure you eliminate big plays. And one of the things that we all lived through last year was too many big plays on the defensive side of the ball. We've eliminated those big chunk plays, and that was job one.
He's not wrong from the perspective of what we've been able to see. What they have been able to do is prevent the 16-yard catch from becoming the 60-yard catch. Like what happened last year in the opener with Keon Coleman. Pass over the middle, two defensive backs run into each other, Coleman's gone. Like, that's what they've been able to prevent. And they've largely been able to prevent that because you don't see coverage busts. And they've been able to eliminate the coverage busts, the big chunk plays, by simplifying. It's very obvious. They have gone to a very elementary approach in the secondary. But in so doing, they've eliminated the big plays. I'll give up the 16-yard reception over the middle. What you can't stomach is the 16-yard reception when the safety's in the wrong spot and then it's a house call. They've eliminated that. A year ago, LSU was 118th in America in pass defense. It almost makes you throw up a little in your mouth when you see it. When you think about the legacy that LSU has in the secondary. And you don't need me to rattle off all the names. You know them all. It is wholly unacceptable to look at a ranking where LSU is sandwiched between Houston and Liberty in pass defense. You were 118th in America at 255 yards a game. They're going to fix that. I'm not telling you they're going to be great. I'm not telling you they're going into the top 20. I'm not telling you it's the 2011 defense where you got Mo Claiborne and Tyrann Mathieu and Eric Reed and Brandon Taylor. I'm not telling you it's that. I'm not telling you it's Stingley and Fulton and Delpit. I'm not telling you that. What I'm telling you is they're going to be better than they were a year ago. How much better, I don't know, but it's going to be a lot better than they were a year ago. And Brian Kelly's telling you there as well. They've worked to eliminate the chunk play. And they've worked very hard on that in camp, and it's obvious. He continued, though, talking about the defense.
I think for me, as we continue to progress, we have to clearly, find ourselves, defensively, what we're going to look like, up front. We're still kind of moving guys around inside, but we've got 5 guys that we're rotating in. I think our edge is going to be pretty good. I mean, I like what we're doing on the edge, but you saw what we saw today. I mean, our pass rush is going to be, manufactured. It's not going to be just 4 down, pin your ears back. I mean, it's going to be nickels and safeties and linebackers and different guys coming from different pressures. And that's what Blake does. So I think I got a better sense of that, where the pressures are coming from. Our corners can hold up on the outside. If that continues to be the case, I feel pretty good about that.
3 things he mentioned there that are worth touching on. Number 1, he said, we're going to be pretty good on the edge. And I agree with him. We've talked about that's a spot where I don't think they're just good by comparison of what they were. I think they're good. Savion Jones is 6'6", 285, and looks really good. Got a one-on-one win against Emory Jones this weekend. Braden Swinson got a one-on-one win against Will Campbell. Look, he ain't going to beat Will Campbell often, but you also ain't going to see a guy like Will Campbell every week because he's the best one in the country. And then after that, Deshaun Womack had a great TFL. He's really good. The freshmen you have coming in with Kalaj Cobbins and Gabe Relaford, y'all, I'm telling you, you think Montgomery Mingo, like that's Relaford and Cobbins. That's what they're going to be in 2-3 years. Like, they could give you pass rush reps this year as freshmen. They're that good. Parrish Shand is a versatile guy inside. Now, I agree with Brian Kelly. They're good. There's no All-American there right now, but they're good. They're good SEC football players at defensive end. You heard him say they're going to rotate 5 guys on the inside. That interests me because I can tell you who the first 2 are. I can tell you the first 3 are unequivocally. It's Jacobian Guillory, who's your best guy, Gio Paez, who's been starting alongside Guillory since the first day, and Jalen Lee, because when either one of those guys are out, Lee's the one that goes in. Those are your first 3. Not even a question. Those are your first 3. And then after that, you go, okay, I'm pretty sure Sean Washington is next. Those are your first 4, and then it's Kimo Makanaioli and Dom McKinley are 5 and 6. So I don't know if they're looking at Kimo or Dom as the next guy to rotate in, but it's one of those 2 who right now is the one they're looking at as the 5th. And if I had to guess, it's probably Dom McKinley because the physical ability is incredible. Kimo doesn't necessarily have the size or the ability as a defensive lineman because it's brand new to him. So I'd probably guess Dom McKinley is your 5th because the more reps he gets, you're going to see him just get better and better and better and better as he goes along through his freshman season. And then the third thing BK mentioned there, after the edge being good, the 5 guys on the interior, he talked about fabricating a pass rush.
And then from an offensive standpoint,
he talked about fabricating a pass rush. And if you were here for the practice report I gave you, if you didn't, you can go check it out on demand. 11 on 11. 4 plays, the offense goes from the 30, their own 30, to the plus 31. 4 plays, boom, 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 boom. And then here they come on a safety blitz. Kylan Jackson, by the way, running with the ones. Flushes Nussmeier. He's backpedaling, tries to throw the ball out of bounds, doesn't get it far enough. PJ Woodland drifts to the sideline, makes the interception, drags a foot. You fabricated your pass rush with a safety blitz. You may not have Arden Key get you double-digit sacks, winning one-on-ones. In that same drill, 11 on 11, we saw Javen Toviano in for Major Burns at the Star, come on a star blitz and generate pressure. We've seen it from Harold Perkins, which we know will be there. They're going to get creative with the way they fabricate a rush, and it's just going to be different what Blake Baker is doing, but it looks good. So, yeah, I mean, Brian Kelly checked a lot of boxes there at basically every level of the defense with the way that he's seen them improve, which tells you coming into camp, he didn't know how good they were going to be on defense. And 3 weeks in, he's got to put his head on his pillow and I'm feeling better than he did the day they walked out on the practice field for the first practice. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.